Welcome to Kendra's Artistic Crochet Designs. Today we're going to be making this, mug rug, or what you want to call it, coaster. So we're going to do this in the round using Tunisian crochet. So I thought this would be a good exercise to teach us and have us practice how to do Tunisian crochet in the round. So I am going to I'm going to use this one. All right, so we're just going to use these two. This is I love this yarn and dark neons it's called. And then we're also going to add this one to it, the candy stick stash from I love this yarn as well. If you were ever going to put anything hot on this though, you probably would want to use cotton yarn, but for cold beverages this would be okay, this yarn, because this is acrylic yarn. Alright, so I also have my double-ended hook, and I have an 8mm and a 7mm, and we're actually going to start with a magic ring, and we're going to chain one, and we're going to put 10 single crochets in that magic ring. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to close it up. Alright, so that's the first part of it. Now, round 2, we are going to just pick up loops in each of these stitches and leave them on our hooks. So we're going to pick up that one. This is number 1, and I actually want to get a stitch marker to mark that first stitch so that I know the beginning and the ending of my rounds. Alright, so we're just going to pick up stitches from each of these stitches. We're going to leave them on the hook. One, two, three, four, five. So I'm halfway around. I'm going to turn, and I'm going to add the other yarn on this end of the hook. And we're going to go through 1 first, and then we're going to go through 2, 2, 2, and 2, leaving 2 on there, turning it back around, and continuing to pick up the loops in this second round. We should have 10 stitches all together. So there should have been 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Alright, now we're going to turn her around and take those loops off. And turn it back around. Alright, so anytime that you work in a round, you have to add stitches. So what we're going to do is our very first stitch right here, we're just going to simple stitch that, and then we're going to do a full stitch in between the stitches. Okay, Wait a minute. Look, this was our first one. Let's see where we're at here. That actually was our first stitch, evidently. Alright. Yes, that was our first stitch. I marked the wrong stitch as the first stitch. Okay, so yeah, we're going to simple stitch. This is our first stitch of the round. So let's mark it. Alright, now, like I said, we're going to do a full stitch in between stitches. And then the next stitch, you're going to do a simple stitch on that one. And then we're going to do a full stitch. And then we're going to do a simple and a full. So we're putting a stitch in between the stitches. We're adding. Okay, this is how you add stitches. Alright, so I'm going to turn this around because I'm about, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, wait a minute. Let's do a couple more. Let's get halfway around this thing. So then here's another one, simple and a full. There we go. We got 10. All right, because by the end of this round, we should have 20 stitches. So I'd like to go halfway at least. All right, so now we're going to take off our stitches like we normally do. So we've got 2 left. And then we're going to go around the rest of the way, doing our simple and then our whole stitch in between, simple, whole, simple, whole. So we're actually adding on in there 10 more stitches by doing this. And then, so that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. All right, so let's take these off. All right, so round 3 is done. And I'm just going to pull that to pull that closed, that middle closed better. So it's completely closed. All right, so now let's start our round 4. Okay, so round 4, we're going to do the simple stitch again. And this time we're going to do a simple stitch in the first 2 stitches. So we're going to do a simple stitch in the next stitch as well. Then we're going to put a whole stitch after that. Okay, so we're adding on in stitches again. So we're going to do 2 simple stitches and then a whole, or full, simple and full stitch, 2 simples and a full stitch, and then 2 simples and a full stitch. Looks like we're about halfway around there, so we're going to turn it around and take off the loops off the hook. Alright, and turn that back around and continue to finish up our round. We need a simple stitch in the next 2 stitches and then a full stitch. We're just going to repeat that all the way around. 2 simples and a full stitch. 2 simples and a full stitch. And there we are at the end. Okay, so let's take those off to finish up round 4 here. Alright, so we're back to now starting round 5. Alright, so, and I've realized that you do not have to increase every round in Tunisian crochet, because if you try to do that, then the whole thing gets too floppy. And so what we're going to do in round 5 is we're going to put just a purl in every stitch, but we're not going to add any stitches in between. So we're just going to pick up and put a purl in every stitch. Alright, we'll turn it around since we're getting a little bit too much on there, and then take off the loops so we can continue. And turn it back around. Right, and then this is our last stitch right here. Turn this around and take off these stitches to finish up round 5. And let's turn it back around and get ready for round 6. Okay, so see how it's pretty much flat? And that looks really neat because we've got the pearls in there. It kind of raises it up a little bit. Like that pattern. Okay, so I love to just play around with yarn and come up with stuff like this. Alright, so now we're going to do a couple more rounds of increasing. So we're going to do 3 full stitches, or 3 simple stitches. So we're going to do a simple stitch in the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to do a full stitch there. Now we're going to do 3 simples and a full. So you'll continue that all the way around. 3 simple and then a full stitch. So we're adding in stitches after every 3 stitches is what we're doing. Okay, so we'll continue doing that all the way around and taking them off, and then we will be back for round 6. Yes. Okay, so then that was 6, right? 1, 2, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay, so round 7. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, this is our first stitch of the round, so let's put the stitch marker there. We're going to simple stitch the next 4 this time. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to add a stitch, like we're going to do a full stitch right there in between the stitches. Now we're going to do the next 4. There's 2, 3, 4, and full stitch. So 4 simple stitches and a full stitch. You repeat that all the way around, and then I will meet you for at the end of this round. Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was 7th round. That was the 7th round, right? Okay, so now round 8. What we're going to do in round 8 is we're just going to purl in every stitch around. We are not going to increase of any kind. We're just going to purl on every stitch. Okay, so you're just going to do that all the way around, and I will see you at the end of round 8. All right, so that was the last round, and now we are going to be doing a binding off round to finish it up. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to We're going to go down to 1 yarn. So we are just going to bind it off by using the simple stitch single crochet. So we're going to go in as a simple stitch and then single crochet each stitch, just like that. And we're just going to do that all the way around. Alright, and then you're going to slip stitch to that very first one and cut that off. And then all you have to do is we've cut this off long enough so we can tie down the ends. And then this one too. And then you have 4 ends to tie down. But right there is our coaster or mug rug or whatever you want to call it. Isn't that cool? Anyway, so there you go. I hope you guys had a lot of fun with this coaster, making this coaster with me. I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day, and bye-bye now.